I'm Caitlin Schaefer, and I chose the topic of humanitarian issues. The first category of the humanitarian issues is immigration. And the question that popped out the most to me was, should a moral person give more weight to the welfare of Americans than to the welfare of non-Americans when they come into conflict? Now, as a society as a whole, I feel like that is generally how it's done. But I don't think that is morally or ethically correct. Just because we were born in one place does not make us superior or worthy of better welfare than somebody born in another place. At the end of the day, we're all God's children. We are all equal. And the Christian, morally, ethically right thing is to resolve the conflict that's in the best interest of both parties. It should never be one-sided. And I think as a society, that's hard to separate yourself. I know, especially Americans, we are very patriotic. We believe our country is the greatest. But that doesn't mean we treat our neighbors that they're less than us. The next section is capital punishment. The question that stood out for me there is, do you think capital punishment deters murder and other violent crimes? I think it does. And I think it boils down to a self-preservation. People are going to do bad things. But if that puts their life on the line, maybe they wouldn't do something that they initially wanted to. If they knew they were just going to get a slap on the wrist and they'd be fine, then yeah, they would probably do it. I think the idea or the notion that breaking the law to that extent, causing somebody harm to that extent, in the case of murder, I think capital punishment would be a deterrent. I think knowing that if they got caught, they would face capital punishment, I think that is a deterrent that would appeal to their self-preservation. The next section is torture. The question that stood out for me there is, do you think it is ever moral to torture someone? And that one got a little conflicting for me, because initially I want to say no, but then pose with the scenario of thousands of other innocent lives on the line trying to get information out of a terrorist. And then to me, it feels that it would be morally wrong not to. I have very conflicting feelings on that. But I feel like if it is for the preservation of life, for the greater good, then yes, I think it would be morally acceptable. And lastly is animal rights. What is this distinction between animal welfare and animal rights? From my understanding, animal welfare is providing the most comfortable life for these animals and giving them the best quality of life. And animal rights is essentially treating animals to have the same rights that we as people do, meaning they are not for our consumption, they are not for our use, they are not for people, they are their own creation and they have their own rights as such. I can see both standpoints, but at the end of the day, I think God created man in his image. We are the protectors of this world, and I think animals fall under that as well. And I think it is our duty to provide the best animal welfare that we possibly can, and to not cause any pain or any unnecessary damage to animals. But to say that they have animal rights that are equal to people is a little bit hard for me to agree with. But though that is my opinion on these moral dilemmas for humanitarian issues.